Take a moment to tune in. Find your center. Establish your center. In your body, in your spine, in your organs, in your cells. In your breath. The in-breath, the out-breath, and the space between the breath. Find the center of your mind. The seed from which everything is born. To be present, you must become nothing, become nobody. The story can never be present. The idea of who I'm supposed to be can never be present. That which is can be present. That which is present and cannot be known, cannot be described with the words. So, in not knowing yourself, only then can you be yourself. And that being is spontaneous, is natural. The same way the banana is fully being itself, each moment. In the moment of blossoming, every moment it's being itself without doubting. So essentially there are two paths. The path of here and the path of there. And there you can do anything. There you can say anything. Anything's possible. You can be whatever you want over there. But here you can't be anything. And so in order to be present, this is that kind of nakedness. This is what the sages meant by first become a child. You can't take the story. It's too heavy. You can't possibly carry it. And so that's why also for meditation, the first instruction, first become nothing, become no one. Not full-time, just for a moment. Just for one moment. Because when you're nothing, when you're no one, then there's nothing to hold on to. All the stories, all the problems, all the expectations, everything immediately is released. The same like when you fall asleep, the same like before you were born and after you die. All the pressure that no one else can feel except yourself immediately released. This is a habit of identification. So we're training the non-identification with the false self, with the past self, limited self. It's easy to let go of something. It's difficult to hold on. It's difficult to pick something up. Is more difficult than to not pick it up. But if I pick something up and I hold it for so long, so tightly, then my muscles become atrophied. I can't let go. Now it's become difficult to let go. So such is the mind. The state of continually grasping everything is not the natural state. But we become atrophied, stuck in this constant calculation, computation, like squeezing the cosmic turd. We're somehow going to figure it out and get it right. And so this pressure, this immense pressure at a deep level of the inner rhythm, one, we can't get there that way. Two, it creates a terrible stress and disconnection. And so the key is to clean, like combing your hair. You comb your hair, and then your hair is smooth. In the same way, you have to comb through your ego, through your nervous system, through your inner rhythm. And establish this habit of presence. We have different faculties. Thinking is one faculty. We have the perception too, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. Then we have thinking, which is combining the perception, sense perception, and the mind. But then beyond thinking is awareness. Awareness is a different state, different faculty. Thinking is like we're taking all these pieces, chopping into pieces, and trying to figure out the best solution based on this duality, based on this comparing, contrasting, this analysis. So this is a very, like a surgical process. We're going more and more into this one. But awareness is completely different. Awareness is not focused on one object trying to get to the root of that object. Instead, it's a expansiveness in which one becomes receptive. One is experiencing the whole within oneself, all the parts. And it's a deeper listening, and we can feel and see the different patterns and rhythms and the flow within the wholeness within ourselves. And so the awareness, it's a question of shifting the energy from thinking into awareness, because the energy is going to go into something. So the idea, I'll just stop thinking, actually, no, the thinking is doing its job. But the same, like if you keep putting your energy into your hand is never going to stop. It's going to keep going. But take the energy from your hand, put somewhere else. So all the energy is flowing. Because we have too much pressure, stress, the energy is coming out, spinning in the mind. It needs another pathway. That pathway is awareness. It's another faculty. It's equal. It's better than thinking, because the real wisdom, the real knowing comes in that state of awareness. All the great thinkers and philosophers said that it's not in the time of stress and forcing and tension, but in that relaxed state of presence that the real answers come, that the intuition, that the connections are made. Not through the pressure, tension of trying, forcing. No, but it's and so awareness, we can cultivate awareness the same way we cultivated thinking. And by shifting the energy to awareness, it will enhance the thinking. Our thinking will become more efficient, more powerful, more focused. And much of the disturbance of thinking will be released because the energy is properly flowing into awareness. It's only in the state of awareness that we can experience beauty and peace and all of these subtle qualities. It's not thinking. There's no way, you can't think. Thinking is just sitting on the side judging. Judging, oh, is that good enough? That ice cream was not as good as my last ice cream. Never gonna have an ice cream as good as this ice cream. Then every day, just looking around, nope, that's not as good as my ice cream. Everything. So this is the nature of thinking. But in awareness, right, because thinking is programmed to get you the best deal. You want to get the best deal. So you have to pay attention, because you want to avoid what you don't want and get what you do want. So everything is a strategy. Essentially, our personality is a complex strategy for maximizing what we want, avoiding what we don't want. So thinking is just functioning in relation with that. But awareness is where we are able to experience the oneness and see ourselves reflected in our environment, and And awareness, this state of receptivity, then we're able to charge and to connect with the power, the universal powers, the elements, circulate the energy properly within ourselves, because of this state of awareness is like a holistic state. It's a state of being. It's not just like a making the mind, but it's a connectedness and a whole. Because if we're not if the body, heart, and mind are not in tune, impossible to have the receptivity, that lightness, to be able to access the subtle awareness. And this is right. So it's only through training your body, means working with the inner rhythm, the rhythm of your blood, your nervous system, your lymphatic system, your hormones, your cells, your organs. Bringing this into harmony. Then working with your heart, cleaning your heart. This tension, the willpower, confidence, mood, desire, expectations, emotions, all of this tied together, cleaning, combing, organizing, then mind, all the senses and thinking, remembering, analyzing, planning, and beyond to intuitive mind and transcendental mind. We have to clean, anyway, we clean everything. We clean the bathroom, we clean the phone, clean the car, clean the bed, clean everything, but we never clean ourselves. Only just the surface. We only deal with the surface. The teeth and the skin and the clothing. So by cleaning, tuning at a deep level, then you're able to access these more subtle channels. And awareness, once you know the mechanics of awareness, and if you train, the same way you have to train to hold the pencil correctly or train to type on the keyboard. You can just throw your fingers at the keyboard, or you can learn there's a position, and then the fingers are supposed to go a different way, they combine well. So it's your choice. You can choose, you can just peck at the keyboard, or you can undergo the necessary training. For some people it will be easier. Some people, just a few days, weeks, they can do it. Some people it takes longer. But if you pursue the training to term, if you follow the training long enough, then your fingers will just go where they go automatically. So in the same way, if we properly train, then our energy is not always being spent in generally negative thinking and things, spinning and attachment, emotion, desire, but it can be elevated into this channel of awareness. We can train how to breathe, how to, these simple things, how to be stable, right? All of these basic things that they do for the sports and that they do for the arts, we can do in relation to our daily life. If we follow the same kind of paradigm, then we establish that state of presence and aliveness. This would seem to be the only remedy, because it's like you have the USB, it's not plugged into the computer, or the mouse, you don't plug it in. Then what can you do? There's nothing working, nothing flowing, no possibility. You can't nothing, you don't know. So if we're disconnected, if we're essentially disconnected from ourself and the life, then what's possible? Nothing's possible. You take as much medicine you want, right? Go to as much yoga as you want, but if that core level of disconnection is there, then nothing's going to work. All temporary, like a temporary excitement, and then same thing. So we must deal with this core level of connection first. Right? It seems that's what the yogis have said. Start with the most essential, that core relationship with the essence of life, with the power, that aliveness. That we know when it leaves the body, you don't love that person anymore. When that aliveness goes, the same body, but it no longer has any meaning. So that aliveness, there's a spark of something aliveness within you that has value, or that is. And so that's what we're focused on. And you see, you can find out for yourself. If you nourish, right, you have plants at your house. You can choose, you water them or not. What happens when you water the plants? You observe. Observe, you give it little, you give enough water, you give too much water, you put good stuff in the water, what happens? You add nutrients, fertilizer, what happens? So, in modern term, they call it biohacking, I believe. Biohacking is this optimization of the functioning of the biology, nervous system, habits, time, space to enhance the life. Not through augmented reality and these kinds of things, but just through common sense almost, really. And so the yogis were the original biohackers. And you know what they created? You want to hear the systems of biohacking the yogis created? It's unbelievable, right? Physics, astrology, medicine, right? Biology, mathematics, all of the arts. So many thousands of years ago. I mean, but actually, now I have to revise that because the yogis maybe 6,000 to 10,000, but they're called the rishis, the seers. They downloaded this. This was already there. This was already there. So this must have been known from long before. They downloaded it in this most recent time. Now our modernist science and philosophy is a fragment, a fraction of that which was. Okay. Question. How to respond and approach people in a life where mocks or makes life of us leaning into meditation and spirituality? Yes. Yeah. When I was growing up, there was a time where I refused to speak because everybody was just mocking everyone, like children, It's very common, especially among boys in places like the UK or US, where the culture is really this very very strange behavior where everybody's like, everyone's making fun of one another. It's very distasteful. But that's just how people, that's the world now, especially now the internet. I mean, everything's a joke. And it's a joke anyway, but it's like, now it's a mean joke. Life is a mean joke. Many people with this self-deprecating humor as well, where we could this is a style, this is present in the community. We see this also in all the stories on the TV. Everybody, all the programming is such people lying and cheating and stealing and being assholes. So the training, really, what the yogis always said is, keep it a secret. Why do you want to know? You don't make love in public. This is a very subtle, very secret thing. No, you do your practice, you do your meditation, and then you live your life. Why do you have to show it? The showing it, you don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. Right? The practice, best to be like a ninja, be like a secret. Other people just make you doubt or question your own, practice your path. So before they say, questions to bring to the teacher within the Sangha, etc. But now the whole thing is, within the spiritual world too, it's a big ego trip, a lot of competition and popularity and all of these things. So, it's like, no, you have to do your training, but do it in secret. You have a daily practice, you do it. You can even go hard, you can do a couple hours a day, but nobody knows. Better like that. What to do if I am too tense for meditation? Well, that's why we don't start right into the meditation. We start with the movement, then the breath, then the vibration, and then by that time, you should be good. If not, you got to figure out what it is that makes you good. Right? That's why it's not like meditation. It's a whole recipe. The recipe is meaningful. The sequence is meaningful. Everything is working together. Meditation, in the asana is meditation too, right? Okay, I'm doing sitting forward bend. I lock in, I fix my body, then I fix my mind, then my spine, then I'm in the zone. Now I'm in a state of meditation. I can hold that. If I can hold that for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, man, you'll be shooting into other dimensions within the weeks. No, you hold the posture. No, so the meditation is happening in every aspect of everything. Then I come out of the posture, right, and I come into shavasana, I sit. Again, I'm in meditation. I'm meditating on the active, the energy flow. Now I'm meditating on the emptiness. And going deeper, deeper. Each posture. Then the same thing with the breathing. And so by the time I get to meditation, I'm already in meditation. Really, actually, this is the problem. There's no I in meditation. Right? So I am too tense for meditation. The I is always too tense. This I, this story will never be relaxed. Right? So in meditation, there's no I. It means there's meditation without the meditator. There's no I am meditating. The I disappears, and what's left is meditation. Meditation is happening, but it's not something that I'm doing. Like I'm pushing the lawnmower. I'm chopping the vegetables. I'm doing the meditation. Right? No, there's no I. You have to see, it's very easy. Meditation is very, very easy, but it's not simple. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. The I thing. The I can't meditate. The I is always tense. Watch it. What about me? What about me? Oh, what about this? Oh my God, but I was expecting that, and this is happening. Like, you see it, because we're in an impossible situation where we're projecting our calculations and probabilities on the future. And no matter how good we are, the future is never going to be what we have in our mind. It's impossible. Imagine the future is meeting the thoughts of every human on the planet, and every ant, and every frog, and every dog, and everything. No. So we have to see first that our individual thoughts essentially are meaningless. In a beautiful way, in a sacred, divine, cosmic way, but like not important. Right? And so then there's a bit of space. Otherwise, there's no space. There's no room to breathe because it's like, it's gonna have to, get out of my way, And so the I is projecting the false future, and that creates infinite tension because we know deep down, we know it can't be. We know it's not gonna happen. We know we're not gonna win. We know we're gonna die. We know we're gonna lose everything, and we're just, and so that is a tense state. That person can't meditate. There's no need for it to meditate. That just needs to, the meditation is resting in your true self. There's no way to bring the false self into that. Many people make a mistake. This is important, please understand. Meditation is not turning the false self into the true self. It's not like beating it up or painting it another color and all of a sudden the jiva becomes atma. All of a sudden the ego becomes the self. Meditation is simply just this kind of fire that burns burns away somehow we have this identification with the false, and then all of a sudden we shift and identify with the self. It's not that this like the story about me becomes perfect, this perfect story, something like that. The story stays as it is. The story is the story. The self is the self. So it's a burning of that false, of the connection, the false illusion connection. But the ego stays, it does its own thing. It's not important. So meditation is not this, you're gonna become like Superman, the Superman version of yourself. Right? Meditation is simply, you get in the fire and then all the impurities are boiled, they come to the surface and gradually release. But it's not supposed to feel good. It might, but that's not the point. And there's no I, then there's no feeling. So it will be what it needs to be. The meditation knows what it's doing. The meditation takes care of itself. The same way, like when you breathe, the breath knows what to do. You don't have to give any direction. You breathe in, and everything that needs to happen is going to happen with your breath. 100%. You breathe in, and it's going to happen. You eat the food, and it's going to happen. The digestion will happen. In the same way, you leave the space where you're no longer processing sensory information and manipulating your vehicle within the world and thinking you're going and doing. You for a moment, you pause all doing. You understand, doing is using power. Doing requires effort, like all this. So, and we're doing at a very deep level. So many layers of doing. Cellular level, about like all the thinking and trying and wanting, so many things at once. So for a moment, you pause the doing, so your system knows what to do. When it has that break, it knows exactly, like when you fast, you stop eating food, your body knows, what to clean and how, what to do first, then what, then what, then what. Life knows what to do. We have no fucking clue. We have no clue. And we'll never know. We can never know. So if it were possible, it would be known. So many books, so many universities, so many scientists, researchers. So what should I eat? How should I sleep? What should I do? No answer. She knows what to do. Life knows what to do with meditation. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. This is why we can't go to the toilet. We can't digest. We can't eat. We can't sleep. No? So, everyone says, I'm bad at meditation. I'm not good at meditation. It's meaningless. It's like meditation, like sunbathing. You have to just take it. You just sit there. It can be uncomfortable at first, but because of what's coming in is coming out. What's inside is coming out. You have to get it out. Otherwise, you keep it inside. So the purpose of, people misunderstand purpose of meditation. You have to be good at it. Like the purpose is, like the goal is like playing tennis. You gotta hit every ball back. It's like, okay, I gotta destroy every thought. And everything that I ever thought was gonna be good, I'm gonna do that. That's meditation. That's so absurd. It's unreasonable. And it's simply not true. It's actually nothing to do with it. It's another fairy tale. That's why I hate these words now. I hate the word meditation. I hate the word yoga. It's some other crazy fairy tale story or something. Just stop, don't move, stop doing. All the life we're doing, and we have this idea if we do more and we do it better and we do it, right, then it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be good. But what does that even mean? What does good mean? What is the success? And then, has anyone made it? Has anyone, through doing, has anyone done enough such that they made it, wherever that is? And it would seem, at least from my perspective, and I've spoken with people, that actually no one has made it. And that's because there is a hoax. There doesn't exist. And so that's why we're focused, stressing the path of here. Here is awareness. Here is meditation, but it's not another story. It's not like, oh, the good me. Now I'm going to be the good me, and I'm going to be nice all the time, and I'm going to be present something. No, you have to forget yourself. But you can only forget yourself once you've cleaned enough that it's light. Otherwise, everything's stuck, then you can't let go. You can't forget. So that's why we talk about tuning, the tuning process. Every day, tune your instrument, train your instrument, tune yourself. How have you stayed consistent in your daily yoga and meditation practice? This is a good question and a very important question. And I'm going to make a couple statements. One is, I grew up playing classical music. And as a classically trained musician from a young age, there's a certain standard and ethic of practice that's common across the boards. Easily you have musicians in middle school practicing 2 to 4 hours a day, personal practice, and then you're expected to learn your part so that when you play with the orchestra, you're responsible for your part, and then you practice with the orchestra or the band, and you're practicing alone and small ensembles, and you have lessons with your teacher. Yeah, there's a whole panorama, and that is the base level from an early age. Same with sports. I trained also sports, high level. Now there it's more team training at the higher levels in high school and university. Of course, you have a lot of personal training, which is going to the gym. But people do a daily kind of thing. So to attain a high level at anything, then I trained in language as a linguist. Of course, you're studying languages, you have to dedicate time. Not even you have to. You want to because of passion. I mean, there's 2 options. Is you do what you do in your life because you have to do it, or you do what you do because you want to do it, because you're passionate about it. And so if you're passionate about something, it's totally different. I had that. I was very lucky that I had some kind of wild passion from a young age, And I was very clear that I needed to listen to that. And so everything I've done has been through that passion. And it's really like, phew, that passion will carry you through anything. If you can find that passion in you, right? And of course, I mean, gosh, there are people, actually, one more thing first. So another thing is, the people do things every day. There's some things that you do every day already, right? Like brush your teeth, take a shower, wash your clothes, maybe clean your room, maybe not. So how do you do it? What do you do? What is it? How are you able to do that? What is it that enables you to do those things? Right? Now, part of it may be just the structure. It's just part of the rhythm. But it's because you give importance to those things, right? For sure. Whatever you give importance to, you find a way to do it. So one of the parts is we must see that it's not just like, you have to see how high is that on your list? To be alive, to be connected, to be present, to feel grounded. How is that important or not? Because everybody says it. I hear it a lot, but then nobody shows it. Like, we define importance by how we spend our time and our energy. So whatever you do with your time and energy, if it's chasing money, if it's chasing fame, if it's chasing approval of others, like that is really what defines what we give importance to. Not just like saying words like health, mental health is important to me, something. Those are empty words, doesn't mean anything. So if we truly care about something, then for sure, we can find time for that. We will find time for that. There's endless time. So that's one thing, is when we have to determine why, like what are we doing, why and how. Like, so the how, like, is there a way to train? Is it possible that we can, and then it's a question of structure, how to structure that, right? Of course, yeah, how to structure that. And that's why we say the idea is, you do it like a 100-day challenge, for example, where you have a fixed practice. You do the same thing at the same time every day. Right? So, for example, if you can dedicate 2%, which means 30 minutes, then in 30 minutes you can do about 12 to 14 minutes of postures, which means about 5 or 6 postures for 1 minute each. Right? Maybe there's 2 sides, so there's 2 sides, and then you have 30 seconds or a minute of integration. So it's about 5 or 6 postures, which is more than enough, sufficient to keep the energy flowing in your spine and your blood, your nerves, your organs. To maintain that basic aliveness is sufficient. Then you have about 5 to 6 minutes of pranayama. So you do the 3 breathing exercises, 1 minute each with 30 seconds integration. Or you can then gradually increase. And then another 12 to 14 minutes of stillness. Meditation, put the timer for all this. Use the timer and sit. And there's no question, what should I do? When should I do it? Fixed practice. You can always do more. Right? You have extra time? Sure. Play around. Do what you feel like. Right? But this is the core for tuning. The focus is not on mastering yoga. The focus is on, being in tune. And so we don't have to do complicated, tricky, fancy things and always push to be like, can I do it? Oh my God, I'm good enough, I'm not good enough. Like, that has no place in yoga. Good enough, not good enough has nothing to do with yoga. And so, this is the key. Fixed time. When? First thing in the morning. You wake up, before eating, before talking, before working, before phone. You tune yourself. You warm up. Like a musician tunes their instrument before they play. That's the good thing to do. That's expected. That's reasonable. That you should tune before you play. Also, it's been proven that if a sports player warms up before they play, then they're going to play better. It will flow easier if you warm up before you play. The same, if you warm up as a musician, you have to tune and you warm up before you play, then you're going to play better. So, allegorically, would it not make sense that we're struggling so much just to be ourselves, just to show up in life, let alone to do anything useful? That perhaps if we take the time each morning, first thing, to awaken ourselves, to love ourselves, to nourish ourselves, to tune ourselves, and then to warm up, that maybe it will improve, enhance our performance, our experience. It's possible. It's probable. This is the teaching we call, if you water the garden will grow. But somehow, this approach, which is applied in, as far as I know, every field of all the arts, all the sciences, all the musical instruments. Yoga is the one field now, modern yoga I should say, is the one field where you don't have to do any of that. You just take a class every now and then, but you don't need to master the scales. You don't need to master the foundation of the breathing, of the spine, anything. And it's unfortunate. And that's why we're looking for different words, because in this now, the Kali Yuga, the Dark Ages, everything is now, yoga has become this circus. You know, people doing circus tricks, like, wow, look at me, I can do this, great, it's fine. But you know, then it's dangerous, and it's just not the point. Now we're obsessed with this pursuit of some physical aesthetics thing, and again, we're making ourselves not good enough and wrong. The purpose of yoga is to be at home in yourself, to be present, and so the whole thing is unfortunately deceiving people. That you have to give a good performance. It's a strike a pose. It's a pose, not the poise. We're focused on poise, the depth, a depth of presence and grounded now, here and now. The practice is through practicing presence, you will be present. Not through torturing yourself and making yourself wrong, that at the end of the rainbow you're going to be present. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, and I have not yet seen that to be true. Question. What tools can we use to guide us through grief, the loss of someone we love? So, in order to digest the daily experience of life, we must maintain a healthy system. So daily practice, movement, breath, stillness, vibration. This is necessary just in order to maintain, this is without the big waves coming. Just the little waves, just little daily bullshit. I like to give the example of, like, on a weekend at the park, there's a pickup game of whatever, football or ultimate frisbee. And your friends are all playing and they invite you to play, and you haven't played in a while, right? You haven't exercised even in a while. But you're saying, what's the big deal? And so you get on the field, and after a few minutes you feel like you want to throw up, and it's like cramp pain, and it's like, it's like torture. It feels like you're being tortured. And you look around, everyone's smiling and having a good time. And so the game is the same. It's the same game, the same experience, or the same objective situation, and yet the experience is diametrically opposite. It's so different. What's the difference though? It's the same game, same thing, but some people in shape, some people out of shape. And so what it comes down to is that if we're out of shape, for life, then life itself is going to be a torture, a battle, from morning till night. Simply being out of shape. It's not about like a high level of this and that. Just to be in shape. Just to be in shape. So this is enough. The daily practice, if you're not in shape, then even the regular shit, I'm not talking you get fired or COVID or someone dies or you die, like whatever. That's the big shit. But just the regular stuff. We have to see, this isn't a hobby. This is part of the mechanics of a healthy life system whereby we're digesting our experience and staying true to ourselves, something like that. And so, daily practice. But then, really what's needed, so once we have that, more than learning about navigating grief, we must learn how to navigate a joy and presence and love. That we can, because that's what we want to fill our lives with, right? And when our life is filled with that, then it becomes much more natural to work with the difficult emotions. When the path is open, when we know how to vibrate, when we know, because this is what we're moving towards also. Often in life, we're watering the seeds of what we don't want in our life. We're always thinking about the things we don't want. And so this is, in a sense, pouring our energy into that. And so we have to pull ourselves back and to try to focus on what we want to bring into our lives. Because we will honor the people, our ancestors, by living our life fully, not by spinning out in the grief and despair. It's not that we don't have to learn how to deal with that and dance with that, but that's not the main lesson. The main lesson is not how to dance with grief. The main lesson is how to dance with joy, how to be present. And so for sure, once we learn that, then the other stuff will be obvious. Then we have the power with which to do that, with which to sit with that, and to. But if we don't have that, if we're disconnected with ourselves and we have no connection with the peace, the love, that depth, then everything is going to be impossible. Everything will be difficult. How can we have a solution? We get knocked by one thing, immediately we get knocked by the next one. What's the benefit of chanting mantra? So mantra is a fine, very, 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 very fine level tuning. First we have the movement, right? By moving your body, it's stimulating the flow of the blood, everything. This is a grosser level. More subtle level is the breath. Subtler than the breath, carried in the breath is the residue of vibration. So all your body is just a big field of vibration. All the nerves, you see these pictures over here. This one, too. We have your body is all vibration, but because of the tension and karma and gravity and other things, many blockages. And so the vibration of mantra is traveling through these subtle channels, and in the field around you, because normally, turn the camera to me, eh? Yeah, better. So because normally, we're doing mantra anyway, but we're doing the mantra of our negativity and suffering and pain in the past. We're repeating that all the time, and our whole field is filled with that. It's filled with whatever vibration, whatever we're vibrating at, then we're swimming in a ball of that vibration, which is like this one. And then this one, right? But when we have a lot of all this heavy negative, then it's like these disruption in the field. And so what's happening is that when we're chanting mantra, the Vedic mantra, then we're, through the breath, we're empowering these waves of vibration that then go in and then harmonize the field. And work directly with the specific nadis, these meridians and organs, and activate different things in the spine. There's actually a vast science of mantra, which is a kind of alchemy. Same like the chemists have their books that they're writing where specific chemical reactions, then as researched as the chemists are the scientists, yogis of mantra, in Tibetan, whatever, Vedic, Tibetan, all these. And so we empower that with our voice and the breath, and that it's purifying. It's purifying the body, the heart, the mind, and it's helping us to connect with different gifts and powers. In the Vedic time, it was all the mantra, like the weapons were all mantra. All these bombs and the astra, all these mahastras and all these powerful things were through sound vibration. Now, in many ways, the construction of these temples and the work they were doing was with sound vibration, changing the density of matter. And so we don't realize the power of our words, and we're using words very unconsciously, and we're using the words to harm ourselves mostly and those around us. So mantra can help us that our words have power, our words are beautiful, our words come from the heart, and that we can use the words as like flowers, we can use the words as fruit that bring goodness into the world. So mantra is that's a fraction, that's a tiny little fraction of nothing that mantra is doing. Mantra is the key that's unlocking all of these treasures and secrets then as well. There's different mantra working with different things for like arts and learning, stimulating brain, some for the power and the shakti, some working to, quiet the ego. There's different mantra connecting with different planets depending on your time of birth and then where you are in your journey. These things are affecting us. There are many different factors affecting us beyond just like the people and the economy and things like that. And so the yogis were taking into consideration the multiple factors and developed this very intricate science for tuning or wholeness or balance. So your body is made of mantra. It's the mantra body. You have the subtle body. And so what the yogis are doing is they're constructing essentially like energetic pyramids, these vortexes of energy with the vibration of the sound and sound chanting. Okay, last few questions. Is there a purpose to suffering in our spiritual evolution? Bad karma or in retrospect a blessing? The bad karma is good too. Everything is good. Everything is leading to the one place. All the rivers flowing to the ocean. There's no other possibility. Everything is all moving where it needs to be. Whether we think it's good or bad, it's only in our mind. Good and bad is only in our mind. And what's good and bad today could have been completely different 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago. On the other side of the planet right now, what's good for me might be bad for them. What's good for them might be... So good and bad are relative. All of karma is playing itself out. And this is too much. The problem is we are too much obsessed with our individual self. But life's not about the individual. It's like each leaf on the tree was like, what are you going to do next weekend? What do you think? What are you going to be when you grow up? And the other leaf's like, I don't know. I think I'm going to, I just want to go somewhere. I want to be something else. It seems because of the misinterpretation of our senses that everything is these separate things that are, but even you, what about, where are the cells? Where are they? What are they doing? Each cell is a world equal to you as an ecosystem. So what's the deal? Are there many? Is there one? But it's just me. But what? Come on. So the trip is that it's not. There's no way. It's not like suffering is just the growth. Is the phase of growth of existence. But it's not a. On a personal level, it's very difficult to. But then the yogis, it's like when you work out and go to the gym. When you start going to the gym for the first time and haven't gone in a long time, and you're lifting weights and exercising, then after it you feel burnt. It feels terrible. Like your whole body's burning. Right? It's a muscle tearing. But then after a few weeks, after a month or two, you feel that burn and you're like, you feel that's like the power that's life changing. And so it's the same, the ego tearing, this is suffering in the ego is, at first it feels very uncomfortable, but then you learn that's that power. And so the suffering there's two things. One, suffering is the messenger who is letting you know that there's something to pay attention to. So not suffering's fault. Suffering is just bringing your attention to something that you're unaware of. Two, suffering is the byproduct of the transformation, in which case, again, suffering is not the culprit. Suffering is simply the energy being released, which is now, moving things. And so suffering is the only way. That's what all the yogis said. That's what all the great yogis said. The only way of transformation is through the suffering. You don't need to experience the suffering. That's the thing. There's at the level of the individual, and that's why the people in the army, high-level army, Navy SEALs are training their southern nervous system, their breath, so that in a challenging situation, they're not experiencing it as suffering. The yogi is like a Navy SEAL. The yogi is not like a hippie running around chasing butterflies in the park. Okay, that's just crazy. The yogi is a Navy SEAL on like steroids. You know what I mean? It's very, very high level. And so this is what we're talking about, suffering. We have to understand that life, as Buddha said, life is suffering. You're born, it's challenging. Being a child is challenging. Keeping your body is challenging. Making this, the whole thing. So the expectation that it shouldn't be suffering is actually the one's causing the problem. The expectation that it's supposed to be something else. The idea that it's supposed to be something else is what causes the ultimate suffering. That I'm supposed to be someone else. That life should be different. It should be like this. Imagine that. Then I really got to fucking, then it's a real problem. You have to contextualize the suffering. Also very difficult. We hear the word suffering and we're like, I'm not suffering. But what's meant by, it's hard to relate to that word. But basically suffering is like, wanting something and not getting it, or having an expectation. It's like, it's happening all the time in these micro moments, in these micro gestures, in these micro expressions. The suffering it's just the word. The word feels too formal for us. It's like, it's a formal word. I'm not suffering. But really what suffering means is like, it's like, the light turns red and you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's just that unconscious negative trigger reaction. It's just like that, every time you assume the worst thing's gonna happen. That's the suffering. It's not like the children are starving in Africa kind of thing. It's also that. But the story of the children starving in Africa is not suffering for you. You know what I mean? That's not real. That's the path of over there. Suffering over there is like, oh my God, but the suffering here is very different. So it has to be, that's why the Zen masters would take their students and like dangle them off the cliff. Right? And in that moment they could awaken. Otherwise it's like, there's gonna be a solution over there. There's gotta be. Okay, last questions, real quick. If you were embarking on your meditation and spiritual journey today, which I am, which we all are, it's every day. It's got to be every day. It's not like, 20 years ago or something like that. It's every day or never. It's now or never. What is a piece of advice, guidance you would give yourself? No, you have to, daily practice. There's no question. You do your practice. No matter what. You commit to that practice, you do the practice. If you're really busy, you have to catch an early flight, then either you wake up early enough that you can do your practice first, or you have an exceptional shortened version which only takes 5 minutes. If you're doing a 30-minute practice or an hour-long practice, then fine. You got the 5-minute version that you do, you whip it out when needed. But as soon as possible, you make up for that later in the day, and then the next day you don't do it again, Or you just wake up. When you're practicing a half an hour, and you can easily wake up a half hour earlier and not really feel much. You'll feel more energized for sure. Once you get the habit of, because what are we doing in the practice? It's not like we're practicing yoga so we can be like, I practice yoga. It's like we are activating our cells and organs and stimulating the flow of our blood and turning on our nervous system and spine and cleaning our brain and our clearing the channels and removing the excess, the waste and emotions. It's like we have to understand what we're doing. Okay, it's great, everyone can brush their teeth every day, but who cares? Like this is just so much more essential for living a good life, and yet we give it so much less importance. To me, it's so absurd. So if you're able to see the bigger context, then there's no way that you would miss your practice. And once you feel that the aliveness, then only you get swept away by life and the things. That's why it's important to have very clear. I commit to doing this every day at this time, no matter what. Right? And then or you center your day around what's most important, and you do whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Whatever's important, we're going to find a way to do that for our life. So you have to figure it out, what's important in your life, and how you get that. And so through the daily practice, you will be able to activate. It's really like someone who's playing a sport who's never trained anything or never practices or anything. They just show up and whatever the fuck happens, or someone who's like training and then they get really good and they can really play well. It's like to assume that somehow we're just going to get good at life by tripping over ourselves and stumbling around stressed out every time all day. Like, it's absurd. And then if we look and it's like, like someone playing the sport, then they can train in a simple, repetitive way. And if we look at the highest levels of tennis, at the highest levels of basketball, at the highest levels of every sport, they're doing the same basic drills and exercises they did from the beginning. It's not some top secret code that you get when it's the basic foundational thing. That's it. But for whatever reason in yoga, no foundation, and it's just like, see what you can do, prove it. Like people just doing it to prove it. Most people in their life, everything they do, just doing it to prove you can do it, to prove to others, to prove them wrong, to prove myself right something. Last question. What is the purpose of the thinking mind? It feels it is a gift to have it. Could I spiritually evolve without it? But now it feels like a block and a rock that trips me up and holds me back. So in the yogic system of the mind, there are 4 parts of the mind. Ahamkar, Manas, Buddhi, and Chitta. Okay? Ahamkar, there's one part of the mind which is attaching the I to everything. My clothes, my book, my parents, my life, my conversation, my past. Okay, there's a part of this I. This is the I that's on center stage, and so everything we interpret relevant to me, I. There's everything that we see is tinged with that I. Everything that every individual organism experiences is tinged with that I, ahamkar. The plant is experiencing that. This is necessary for the self, what's it called? The survival mechanism. Also, this I. So everything we perceive is tinged by that I. Everything we think, everything we hear, right? If I say, people just died in a car crash, big deal. My family just died in a car crash, totally different. Everything totally different. So this I is essential. You have to see. This is the root. This is the root of the problem. Then second we have chitta. Chitta is like the database, the storehouse of all the information of whatever. All of it's stored and it gets accessed. Then we have manas. Manas is the mechanical mind, this thinking mind. Mechanical mind, which is essentially just like processing information, sensory information, organizing it and sorting it and accessing it. This is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just a higher form of the Google mind. Before we were experienced like Google, no, but our mind is multidimensional like ChatGPT, okay? But that's what this is about, and it's essentially mechanical. This is mostly mechanical process. Then we have Buddhi. Buddhi sounds like the guy behind me, right? Buddhi, Buddha, yes, that is true. Buddhi is the enlightened mind or higher mind, which is not functioning with the senses or thinking, right? But is a kind of intuitive process of knowing. And so as long as they say manas is a good assistant, the mechanical mind, thinking mind is a good assistant, not a good leader. Right? So the leader is buddhi. But most people are not accessing that, or not living from that place. Everyone can access. And so buddhi is experienced in the state of awareness. So in awareness you can access buddhi. In thinking you cannot access that. It still trickles through, little driblets and droplets. So something like that. So it is a gift. It's a gift and at the same time a curse. Because unless we're able to contextualize that mind within the greater mind, then we're going to be, essentially killing ourselves with our thoughts. So enough talking. Let's take a moment to be quiet and drop all the words. Forget all the words, because the words aren't important. Beneath the words is the space. When you can be present in that space, then you've reached the goal. You're here. Nothing left to do, you can drop everything. Only thing is to be present in that which is. So be quiet, take a few breaths, look up. Oh.